Hopefully we can get everybody to, I hate to say stop networking, but make their way back into the ballroom. Our next panel, if you guys want to go ahead and come up on stage. When we were putting together the content of the conference, one of the things we thought would be interesting is to talk to some of the companies who are actually not only cloud providers, but also running their entire business on cloud services. And so I've invited Michael Pearl from PricewaterhouseCoopers, who obviously helps a lot of companies in this space, to talk to these guys and figure out, what are the advantages, what are maybe some best advice, some tips, some pitfalls to avoid. So Mike, I'll let you introduce your panel.
Excellent. Rihanna, thanks very much, and it's a pleasure to be here. Hopefully we'll get some of the folks back in from networking here. But I'm very pleased to be here. As Rihanna said, my name's Mike Pearl. I'm a partner with PwC, and I lead our cloud computing business for the US. And just to set some of the context, many of you may know PwC in the context of auditing and accounting. But we're also about 40,000 strong in our consulting business and an $8 billion consulting business worldwide, spending much of our time around business strategy through execution and technology enablement. And so, as Rihanna mentioned, I spend much of my time helping organizations understand the business value of cloud and how to leverage that in a number of different ways, but most primarily in how to leverage cloud to drive business growth. And I'm very pleased to have an excellent panel here of folks who have a tremendous amount of experience in the cloud space and helping their clients and customers grow their business. First, I have Nara Balakrishna, who is the Vice President of Strategy from Appirio. I have Guy Shani, who's the COO for Clarizen, and Gil Zimmerman, who's the co-founder and CEO of CloudLock. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here with me. Maybe to set a little bit of context in your background and some of your credentials, give a brief overview of your organization and what they do.
Should I go first?
Nara, please.
So I work for Perio. Perio is a cloud solution provider, and we help mid to large size businesses move their businesses to public cloud solutions like Salesforce, Google, Workday. So we provide the range of services from strategy all the way to ongoing management with professional services that are supported by technology and a crowdsourcing community. And what I'll be talking about today is a little bit of how we use the cloud internally, because we run our business 100% on the cloud. Plus, I'll talk about how our customers, and we have about 300 enterprises that we've worked with, how they use the cloud to power different parts of their business or even moving toward cloud-first strategies.
Excellent. Thanks, Guy.
Yes, hi, my name is Guy Shani, and I'm the CEO of Clarizen. Clarizen is a collaborative online project management. We have offices in Israel and in San Mateo, about 1,600 customers and growing. From different types of industries, from small to medium to very large enterprises. I'll talk today again about the way that we are leveraging cloud internally, because I usually say that I'm not only the CEO of Clarizen, but I'm first and for all a customer of Clarizen. We use our own tool across the organization, from R&D to finance to professional services, as well as other SaaS tools. And I think that we experience and kind of eat our own dog food here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we definitely see the value, and we help customers see the same value.
Great. Gil, how about you?
All right, hi, my name is Gil Zimmerman. I'm one of the co-founders and I'm CEO of CloudLock. And basically what CloudLock is all about is cloud data security. We help enterprises leverage the cloud in a more secure way than they've ever been able to leverage any other alternative platform. And basically what that means is we provide them with complete visibility and control of their data on someone else's infrastructure. We work with Google's largest accounts, for example, in the Google Apps ecosystem, in helping customers prevent data leakage, giving them the governance, compliance, and reporting capabilities that they need for their data, while fundamentally the underlying principle being giving the end users the simplest form of collaboration, which also happens to be the safest and most secure form of collaboration. And I'll be talking about our experience with our customers. We have hundreds of enterprise customers. We cover over 1 million end users in our service today. Our application and our business are built entirely in the cloud. Our IT infrastructure consists of a router for anybody here from the United Kingdom. So we feel the pain, but we also see the advantages of a fundamental shift from building a business where you can actually focus 100% of your energy on your business as opposed to kind of the sustaining infrastructure that other people can do a better job at.
Gil, maybe you can continue a little bit with that notion, because I would like to hear from each of you on you're each very fast-growing businesses, a lot of demand for your services, and the need for you to be able to keep up and react to the market obviously is paramount. So maybe you can go a little bit deeper and give us some examples of further examples of how you're leveraging cloud to manage the growth of your business.
Sure. So if I could, I'd start off by plagiarizing your article from Fortune, Michael. And I like your analogy a lot of business credit. So basically what the cloud enables us to do is things that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So just like credit enables a business to go far beyond the scope of what their cash hoard is, cloud enables us to do things we couldn't do otherwise. We can support 1 million end users without having a single server. We can develop software without maintaining our own data center, without maintaining operations. We don't have an operations staff. We don't have a dedicated support person. We have a development organization. We develop software. We ship software on a daily basis. We provide a service on a daily basis, and that forces us. Also, the whole model, I think, is different because it forces us to continuously innovate and continuously provide value. Because our customers are subscribers. They're not buyers. They don't buy a piece of software and then go away. They continuously have to buy into the value that we provide to them. So there's health there. And so our application is built on Google App Engine, for example, and we can abstract away the management of a physical data center, the management of operating systems, of hardware, even of virtualization stacks, and we can focus purely on software development. On the sales side, we don't run an in-house CRM system. We use Salesforce. On the marketing side, we use our marketing automation like Marketo and Leadlander and Google Analytics. We don't let anything into our shop that is not a subscription, is not a service. It's kind of like, for me, the internet transformation and what the internet did for businesses. Building a business without connectivity to the internet is insane. And I think today, building a business that doesn't take advantage of the cloud is just as insane, if not more. So it's just a matter of time that everybody wakes up and sees that it just does not make sense to spend your dollars, your time, your people on things that aren't core to your business and are just distracting you away from your core value.
There are some who think that the internet wasn't as transformative in the late 90s, and just now we're getting to the real transformative value of the internet through cloud computing. But that's an excellent summary and example of managing accelerated growth in the cloud. Guy, if we want to talk a little bit about eating some dog food, maybe you can share with us some of the experiences that your organization has had, in whether there's connectivity and collaboration across the globe with your spread out organization, or managing the growth in how you're engaging your customers.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that today, and we obviously experience it in-house, a lot of the organization are distributed. People are working in a virtual world. We have an R&D center in Israel with a large product group. We have sales and marketing in San Mateo. We have sales offices in Asia. And really the only way that we can grow our business is with this platform, or the cloud platform. There's really no other way. So as I said earlier, we are customers ourselves because we believe that that's probably the best way to learn the values and the pain of using your software. And we use our own solution across the organization, from all the agile methods in R&D, all the way to accounting process, HR processes, implementation of our solution through the world. We have customers obviously worldwide. and we manage like a worldwide implementation of companies that actually have multiple offices, all through the tool that we create. But in addition to that, very similar to you guys, we use tools like Salesforce, like Marketo, like Totango for analytics, and others, to basically have a better visibility of how people are using our software to run all our campaigns, run all our sales processes, etc. And I think that there's no really a practical way for an organization like ours to be where we're at today, with about 100 plus people only, and supporting so many customers in so many regions of the world without a platform, a software as a service platform.
Yeah, that's an interesting continued observation, and one that we see, as you probably well know, we serve very large, multi-billion, multinational organizations, and one of the greatest challenges they face from companies not unlike the panel sitting before you is that, and you think from a strategic perspective of Porter's 5 forces and having capital investments and an infrastructure to keep competitors out or market entrants out, this idea that you don't need that level of capital and you can really build a business from